finally, the finals. Been looking forward to this one for some time. It's going to be pretty hype. Bracket 3, 1200 elo average has been very, very good. So, um, and both of these teams have performed extremely well. So, Cabbage Crew, I believe they were first in their group and they've gone on from semi-finals into the finals for Handed Swordsman. I think, if I'm correct, that they've also oh no, sorry, I think they went through quarters. So, or maybe they went through semis as well. Anyway, both of these teams have played very, very well, and it showed in their gameplay. So it'll be interesting to see how these two match up, because I think it's going to be a very even matchup. I don't think there's an underdog in this series. I think they come in both well prepared and well skilled. Now, this has been a little bit of long time coming because I think there was some scheduling issues. But I said from the beginning that, you know, we're not talking about one player scheduling with one other player. We're talking about two players on each team who need to agree themselves when they're available to schedule with two other people when they're available. So you can imagine that can be a little bit tricky. So I commend these teams for getting the scheduling done, even if it is a bit late. Totally understand that situation. Especially because it's a game, it's a best of 7, right? So, best of 7, we could be in for the long haul. We could be in for the long haul. So I did cast the previous final, or the final from the lower bracket, so bracket 4, which is about 900 elo average. And they decided just to do the best of 5 because committing to a best of 7, that takes a lot of commitment. So these guys are going to go all out and they're going to go for the best of 7, which again I highly commend both of these teams. What about the setup? So the setup, we've done away with the dual domination guardians on the side, and we've got some more space for maps. So when it was the best of 3s, that was very easy to do. Had a lot of space, but now we've got 7 maps on there, and all of the Civ picks running out of space. So let's take away the guardians, the dual domination guardians, and let's open it up for the maps. And we've got these little crowns and skulls. So as we go along, I tend to lose track from time to time, especially as I do this in the evening here in Australia. So we'll keep track using crowns and skulls. So if a player wins, let's say Cabbage Crew won Mired. Oh, don't want to move the actual image. So if they won Mired, I'll put the crown there. So that we can keep track, and same for the civs, we'll put crowns next to the civs that they've won on. For Shoals, so Shoals is like obviously in the middle, so if I put a crown there, it doesn't actually mean anything. We'll put it to the side of the team that wins. And equally, if Cabbage Crew lost Mired, which is their home map, we'd put a skull there. That's how we're going to do it. But with that housekeeping aside, let's get into the draft. And I was thinking at the start of this, oh, hang on a second. There mustn't really be any maps that are going to be left out. But there were a few maps left out. You know, the one that comes to mind, I forget the name. No, remember it? Morass. Morass is not in this pool, which we've seen a lot of. And neither of the teams ended up going for that one. Fair enough, I think. Although I do like that. But I want to point out right from the outset that Pacific Islands is in the map pool, picked by 4 Handed Swordsman. And I actually cannot remember a time that this has been picked in the tournament. So I'll be interested to see the preparation for Cabbage Crew on that one, because we haven't seen it, as far as I'm aware. But looking at the other map, like, Jungle Rumble was played every now and then. I would say it was one of the least popular maps from what I could have seen. On the other hand, Copenhagen, I feel as though that's been played in every single tournament, every single set. And Bay, I think, has been played in every single set as well, basically. I mean, very, very popular map. I feel like I've seen Shoals a lot, but that's maybe because Shoals has been present in a lot of other tournaments. And then Mired was picked every so often as well. So, yeah, but what do we think of these map picks? Jungle Rumble, Copenhagen have a more closed feel to them. Whereas we've got a more open map pick here for Handed Swordsman with slopes, and Bay. Pacific Islands, is a whole other kettle of fish, I think, in terms of style, you could say. But yeah, let's look at the sets that have been picked. So we'll start with Cabbage Crew, going for that more closed style. Right from the outset, I think Armenians got to be Pacific Islands, I would say. Although Shoals, Pacific Islands or Shoals, I think it's fine. But I might expect Malay on Shoals. Sorry, we also have Saracens. So Saracens are all Armenians on Shoals or Pacific Islands. That's where I'm seeing those civs. Lithuanians is a very open map kind of civ, so maybe slopes. I feel like Jungle Rumble had quite a few relics on the map, so we could see a Lithuanians Jungle Rumble. But Georgians also obviously like to play open, maybe that's Bay. And now we're talking closed maps again, so Bohemians might be good on Copenhagen. Vietnamese, might see some Spanish conquistador kind of rush there, especially because actually Spanish are going to be on Copenhagen, I believe, because you start with a castle. You're going to be able to get those Spanish conquistadors out like crazy. So that's what I'm expecting for that one. Magyar's slopes, I think, is also a good pick. But for 4 Handed Swordsman, I'm already seeing something that I like. It's worked for them time and time again, and that is Goths on Copenhagen. I'm surprised that this one was let through, because I'm sure Cabbage Crew have seen the other matches, and maybe they've done some mind games here and be like, do you know what, we'll let it through because we're prepared for it. We know what's coming. And they'll kind of counter it in style. So got to keep that in mind. And we should also note, I believe it was 4 Handed Swordsman that did this play. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do believe they're the Goth Copenhagen players. But it's actually Cabbage Crew that picked Copenhagen, which I find very, very interesting. Koreans, I think they might be the Pacific Islands civ. Malians might play that more open style on Bay. I reckon that would be a good pick. Portuguese on Shoals seems very good. Berbers on slopes also seems good. But we're going for a lot of Cavs, I feel like. Malians, Poles, Berbers, Slavs, Hindustani. So I think it lends itself to their open map pool quite well. Bengalis, I'm a little bit confused about. Could that be Jungle Rumble? You kind of have this closed map in which you can get to elephant archers or something of the like, or the Rafa. Um, Again, Copenhagen could be the play there because you already have the castle. You get to Castle Age, you go into your Ratha immediately. That could be very, very strong. Yeah, those are interesting picks for sure. Cool, I'm looking forward to this one. This one's going to be great. And again, I've been really looking forward to this. I've really enjoyed this tournament. I've really enjoyed the map pool. I've enjoyed the format. So again, I just want to congratulate the organizers of this tournament for putting on a really good tournament. You know, it's a hard thing to put on a good tournament. So congrats to them as we get into the game. We are in game 1 of the Dual Domination final, bracket 3, around 1200 ELO. These are the two teams that have made it to the end. Cabbage Crew, 4 Handed Swordsman, and we are rolling on Shoals. This is the admin map. And as expected, Cabbage Crew here are on the Saracens, who are very good on this map. And then 4 Handed Swordsmen are on Portuguese, and they're also good on this map because of the berry bonus. You get wood with berries, which is a very handy bonus to have. You know, it allows you to get on water early. You've got the gold bonus as well. So I believe your ships are a little bit cheaper in gold. I believe, because I know they have a gold bonus for military units, and I've checked this a million times and I always forget. I think it applies to boats as well. So a lot of bonuses for them on this map. You've got the organ gun as your power unit. That's really handy on the side here, securing that once you get a castle down, and securing this gold is very, very crucial. Pushing deer in here for both players. Even got a boar here. Cabbage Crew. Even already got 4 villages on wood. But got 4 over here as well, so maybe not out of the ordinary. But remember, this is Dual Domination, so there are 2 players per team. And that means you can utilize basically double the actions per minute, double the clicks per minute. You got 2 people. And that's coming through because we've got 0 idle TC time and 2 seconds of idle TC time. Didn't quite execute that perfectly, but no worries. Pushing in the last of the deer here for 4 Handed Swordsman. And pushing in the last of the deer here, the Cabbage Crew. And we've got docks up, the Saracens, docks up. Well, docks being built for the Portuguese. So everything going smooth sailing to begin with. Now, Saracens. Okay. So I like to say this all the time. Actually, we're only just pushing in the deer here for Cabbage Crew because we've opted to go for the rhinos first. But I say this all the time about Saracens. Saracens are my least favorite civ. Okay? I think they have they have very boring bonuses. The galleys attack faster, so that makes them amazing on this map. And the economic bonus is markets. That is so boring. Camels might not play a factor in this game. Transport ships certainly won't. So I almost see them as a generic civ that has two really good bonuses with the market bonus and the galley bonus, but that makes them boring. The camel bonus is obviously very good on land maps, and I don't think it will play a factor in this game. They also have the Mameluke, very expensive unit. If you can get to it, it's also very, very good. But, like I said, very expensive. But it is very good right now, because I remember you used to be able to take them out with skirmishes. You can't take them out with skirmishes anymore. They're not weak to skirmishes like a cav archer anymore. A bit of random food allocations or panic there on the side of Cabbage Crew. And we do actually have idle TC time here for Handed Swordsman, which is unfortunate. But the bonus on the berries is going to start coming into play, and we're off to gold, which is good to see. You've got to get on gold pretty soon, and both are. And this is an awkward gold for Cabbage Crew. That is very, very awkward, and might be a problem to defend until a wall comes down here. Wow, even taking the scout off here, which is going to delay this, and it is Cabbage Crew that's going to get the feudal first. So this might have been a mistake here for Handed Swordsman, because as soon as feudal comes in, this scout's going to speed up and it's going to attack this scout, and this scout is going to die. Well, I mean, if it can survive for 7 more seconds, it will live. It is so close. This is one hit away. I swear this is one hit. It is. And it does catch up. So that was very, very unlucky. Barracks go... Oh, sorry, blacksmith. So we're thinking fast castle probably and ships. I think that's probably the play. 2 galleys. And 2 galleys for 400 swordsmen. And fletching coming through as well. So the Saracens, again, super strong on this map. And I think, based on how this has gone thus far, I think they would be in favour at this stage of the game. It's just 400 swordsmen just need to hold on and perhaps outproduce the Saracens with their eco bonuses with wood and gold would be the play. So might even put down a 3rd dock, and we're going to need to see good micro. They decide to get up close to land a few hits, but they don't have fletching, so Cabbage Crew hit a lot harder at this point. And the blacksmith is just coming down here for 2-handed swordsman. Sorry, 4-handed swordsman. I'm going to be saying 2-handed swordsman a lot, I think, just because it's a natural reflex. But this is good. This is walled off. That prevents that from being a problem. And I think this is a risky game here for Cabbage Crew. A risky game that you don't need to play. And I think sometimes when you're in this position, you can add a few fire chips, perhaps. Although 4-handed swordsman is breaking out. They've got fletching now as well. They're looking for the counter kills, and maybe they might think about giving up water and just going for the kills. think this might be what they're trying to do, and it's not working for them. And I think it's a mistake. And that was definitely a mistake. Because they got no damage. And they lost a lot of hit points on those ships. So that was definitely rough. I love that this eco is all kind of centralized over here in the protected realm of the Empire. Ooh. Yet another wolf. Knights with Devotion. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Happy to have you on the stream. And me and Knights with Devotion actually played a set against each other very, very recently in the Scrappy Lemons League. So definitely good to see you here. And that set was a lot of fun. So yeah, great to see you here. Cabbage Crew are going up to castle and they have the galley advantage. Villager walking up to do repairs, I think, finds a watery grave. Saracens are going to dominate this matchup, especially with their bonus. Galley line attacks 25% faster, so they should be landing a lot more hits. Yeah, Paulville indeed. And there's good micro here, and I'll say it time and time again, Dual Domination really suits these hybrid maps, because one player can basically just sit on galley control, while the other manages economy at home. So you'll see some more intense micro than you're perhaps used to at this level, I would say. But remember, Cabbage Crew are in castle, Handed Swordsman are not. They can go up, but we've got Bodkin and War Galley coming in for the Saracens, and that's going to be an issue. What does the economy at home look like? Going for a market, got good farms. We've walled in, well, basically walled in our wood villages. We might be starting to think of expanding. There's one villager TC, which is interesting. Not towards the gold, so not securing that yet. But we are on War Galley, and we can start to think about taking out those docks now. And excuse me, there are a few galleys left, but those aren't going to last against War Galley, so they will be chased down. We've got 5 galleys out to take out docks and the sea tower probably. And yeah, castle's just too far away. Another minute away from Handed Swordsman. So that's going to be pretty rough. But yeah, the sea tower is not going to last long. This boat is trolling right now, I think. Couldn't escape that lone bolt. But we've lost water for Handed Swordsman, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game's over. If they transition to land effectively, and that is what they're doing. Going for black lines, going for forging. I think the Portuguese knight spam is underrated. I'm just trying to find the stable. Where is the stable? Oh, there's the stable. And there we go with knights. So, gonna get a TC next to this gold. It's not great because this gold is actually nearly all spent. So, they probably could have put it on this other gold or gone out to the sides. That's not going to secure much for long. Yet another wolf says, don't know Saracens well. Do they have a good navy? They've got a very good navy because of that 25% faster attacking galley line. So on this map especially, where it's all about those galley wars, they perform very, very well. Spears. Not sure where I've gone spears, but they're going to perish. And it's been noticed, so that was unfortunate. And they're going to micro away from these bolts, do a bit of dodging. Saracens get camels, of course, and as I said, the Night Rush for Portuguese is underrated. However, if you go into Saracen, that can be pretty rough. So going relics for both players. You know, and these ships are being a big distraction here on the side, and going around would also be very time consuming and annoying. I might just roll on through and try to get some good attacks on an overchop or something at this point. Not bad to take out that camel with 3 knights. I think that's fine. But yeah, if you look at the mini-map already, they're already hemmed into quite the corner here. And monks can convert ships. I can't remember, do you need a technology for that or not? That I can't remember. But, you know, double stable going probably into camels. That's going to be rough for Portuguese. We're close to a castle on that stone. So going into organ gun would probably be the next step for Portuguese. And that could be pretty decent against camel, to be fair. But what gold are you going to have to actually sustain an organ gun repertoire? Gonna have the food, that's for sure. But there's no gold left here. They haven't transitioned onto any other gold. They might not even know where the gold is. It's kind of hidden behind this market now. But not having gold is... Access to gold is very, very important. These knights get cleared up on the back. Got a pikeman here. He's just observing. And if we transition over to other civ sites, does he know what's happening over here? He has no idea. So that's pretty unfortunate. Even going Gilmans. Goodness. They have built a lot of ships, so that makes sense. And Cabbage Crew are basically just going full, think they can go full camel and light cav, which I think is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all, based on what you've seen. But this is well in the hands of Cabbage Crew, looking to win first match. Alright, we have a bit of a tickle in my throat, so I'll deal with that after the game. But castle coming down the side, I do believe this will go up. Army would probably be taken out though. out the castle. Oh, is he gonna get? Yep, he's gonna get the house. Oh, yeah, that was very close. I don't think it's gonna matter. I could be wrong, but they're all coming through now, so that definitely could have been executed better. It could be close, actually. This could be the game. This castle does not go up. I think it's probably already secure in the hands of Cabbage Crew anyway, but that castle doesn't go up because they didn't get the wall off. And Cabbage Crew are going to wall off access to that castle now as well. Oh, I've also got Grape Juice in the chat as well. Good to see you. Yeah, so close and then gets denied. That's a doubt castle for sure. And it's gonna be pretty hard slog for Handed Swordsman to come back. They have found this gold at the back, so this will sustain them for a little bit, but not that much longer. This is significant because they can't produce organ guns. They needed to get organ guns, I think, to have any kind of chance, because you definitely can't stay with knights against Saracen camels. That's going to be rough. And they're going to go into light cav, so that's even more susceptible to camels. You know, they've got the food income, that's for sure. That's a lot of farms. That is a lot of fun. But no gold access. And this map is all about the gold access. And Cabbage Crew got the memo on that one. Yep, camels think they can leave now and do something else there. The battering ram has got that well sorted, and whew, that is an ambitious castle on the coast. Maybe they're thinking we got to get back on water now because we don't have sides. So that's going to be rough because they're already at such a disadvantage in ships. And here come the camels. You know, it'd be funny if this castle was denied. That would be extremely funny, actually. That might actually come true. Could be Double Doubt Castle. It is Double Doubt Castle. Oh no, that is a disaster. And these guys are gamers, because if I had a Double Doubt Castle, that's instant GG for me. I don't want to see this game ever again, but of course they can get the villagers in there to complete it, so good persistence there from them. Doesn't solve the issue that you have camels and light cav in your base killing all your villagers. That is a problem that hasn't been addressed, and there's no military. There's one military unit, which is a monk on the floor, with conscription coming in, but the GG is called, which I think is correct in this situation, but I do love the persistence. So that was a very strong opening here for Cabbage Crew. They got the memo on the gold on the sides. That castle was a doubt castle. This was almost a doubt castle. It did come at a huge cost and for little benefit, I would say. So yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And we're going to go over to... Oops. You're getting a lot of T90 previews here. And so, oh, flash. We'll see. I might reveal that at the end. But yes, we're in Dual Domination. We're not in the T90 Cup, which starts tomorrow. So I need to get this guy here. So Shoals, won by Cabbage Crew. Put the crown over here. We need to get a crown for the Saracens down here. And we need to get a little skull down here for the Portuguese. Oh, isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful. All right, we are here, game 2 in the finals of Dual Domination, bracket 3. Cabbage Crew have 1-0 up. They just won on Shoals. Berbers is to pick for Handed Swordsman, looking to bounce back. Cabbage Crew gone for the melee. Very strong civ, but not a civ that I would expect on this map. You know, I'm expecting Huns, I'm expecting Magyars, I'm expecting Berbers. We've seen Berbers picked on this map a lot. Even Mongols could be good here with lots of Hunt. So, and I actually haven't seen much Mongols. It's usually a ban of many players. But I do think melee could be good. They could definitely be good. Because, you know, the fast up times are very, very strong on very aggressive maps. To get that advantage, the jump on your opponent with unit upgrades and such. So that could be good. You know, the elephant rush, the seldom seen elephant rush, but it is a strong rush, could be good here. They could even try to be greedy because you can wall this. If you wall this, maybe you can go for a fast castle into Karambit spam. So that could be good. And as Grape Juice says, you know, expo timing, mid-at-arms, all of these options are available for melee. It's just how they want to play it will be interesting. Berbers. The gameplay for Berbers is a lot more simple. You want to get to stable units. You probably want to get to your castle age stable units. And just spam the hell out of them. I kind of see Berbers as kind of like a brain dead kind of civ because you just spam knights. Spam, spam, spam. No matter what the opponent throws at you, you can just produce more knights, you can outproduce them, and you're good. If I'm ever playing against Berbers and I'm not a camel civ, I die instantly. I need to play Hindustanis, Gujaras, Tatars, yeah, even Byzantines, you know, because they got the cheaper camels. The camels aren't that good, so they got cheaper camels. I need to play one of those civs against Berbers, otherwise I'm absolutely toast. We're going to disrupt the deer push, which seems to be a persistent strategy here for Handed Swordsman. And I like the gamesmanship of that. I like that a lot. I can't quite decide what we're doing with these villagers though. Maybe a battle of control there between the two players. But we feel as though we can go back to the deer with the scout, I feel. A lot of dead animals under the TC. Geese 4. I thought I saw a deer there at some point. But we're not actually pushing the deer on the side of Handed Swordsman. They haven't pushed any actually. And this is the third deer pushed by Cabbage Crew. So they're going to get a little bit of an advantage here. Handed Swordsmen are opting for disrupting this deer push. And I don't think it's working for them. Because this scout doesn't have enough hit points now to contest this. This scout is full hit points. So they really needed to get on to pushing deer themselves. And you know, they don't even need to push them all the way to the TC anymore because they have the mill here. And, you know, this scout definitely could have pushed, well, he doesn't have loom actually, so no, he couldn't have. But 3 villagers will definitely get their barracks down. Good pressure though, you know, it is annoying, you're losing 2 villagers worth of production there, and wow, we're going men-at-arms with Berbers. I don't know about this with Berbers. Maybe it buys you enough time to get up the castle in your stable units. Maybe. This might not be horrible. Especially if you can get onto these berries or this wood. We're walling up, but they're not going to wall in time, really. We do seem to know something's going on. This scout's going to see that this is still open on the side. And this scout will delay this by attacking this villager. This is good stuff. This is very, very good stuff. They're going to see the men-at-arms. They're going to have to be patient here. A couple more seconds. They needed to delay that just a little bit more. You know, if I'm ever in this situation, I just fight back with the men-at-arms and fight back with the villagers, sorry, and take the losses because I don't have archers, although archers are coming through for the Berbers actually. We have a stable, so scouts will be able to deal with it eventually, but I like to be done with it. Just kill the men-at-arms, take a villager loss and be done with it. It's kind of how I decide to deal with it. It's probably wrong. But I don't like the amount of distraction that kind of keeping them there allows, especially as we know archers are coming forward. The scout can get pretty good damage on 2 archers actually, if that was noticed. And we've stopped producing scouts because we feel as though we're a little more secure. I think that's a fair play. But mixing in a spearman here with these archers, I think is good. %100% agree with that, yet another wolf. But this is not what I was expecting with Berbers. I feel as though they're trying to buy time to get to their night play by going from men-at-arms into archers and then into knights. You know, it's kind of a roundabout way to get there, of course. But if you're delaying Cabbage Crew from, you know, getting to castle themselves, could be good. But here comes scouts, and you know, they're exposed. They're very, very exposed. There's another scout over here. We're producing another scout. So they basically just need to get rid of the spearman. Yeah, I'm not sure about why these scouts are so late to come over. You know, a lot of villagers were killed in that. Spearman dead, so these archers should be cleared up. But there were some unnecessary deaths there for sure. This archer decides, no, I'm not going to help my friend. I'm going to go back. But, you know, four-handed swordsmen, the resources they have are looking good. It has given them the opportunity to completely wall their base. This has only been achieved now as Cabbage Crew. So these scouts are not going to find any damage. I thought for a second there might have been a hole there, but thank goodness there wasn't for the sake of four-handed swordsman. But Archer Spearman for this is, you know, obviously not great for scouts. But I was going to say they're completely walled. There is a gap there. It's been noticed and the house is going to go down. Going for armor, that could be a mistake. Good micro though. Yeah, we've got gold at the back here, so access to gold is not an issue. You just move off this wood line if necessary. Scout numbers are large. We're going for forging. We're going to take this fight before if you're going to take this fight, take it. Can't second guess that. I feel like they hesitated and still a spearman in the mix, so that's a very poor fight there for Cabbage Crew. Good work there for four-handed swordsman. I mean, it is basically an even trade though, but I think you're looking for the clear up at Cabbage Crew. You know, that's a lot of food dead on the ground there, which is unfortunate. Oh, hold on. Let's just run through the base. Little cheeky gap there. One that I did not see, but they've trapped themselves, I feel, as the archers go down. So that was unfortunate. Walls, yeah, I mean, they're both trying to fully wall. Obviously a mega fail there for Cabbage Crew, but they don't get punished for it. So that's fine. They're both going up to castle. The melee player, you should always get to castle first as melee with the timing bonus. However, Berbers have been able to do enough damage here to prevent that. So that's really good stuff. You know, you want to prevent melee from going up fast, and four-handed swordsmen have actually achieved that. So, well played. And they're gonna start going into stables now, which is exactly the gameplay you want to do with Berbers. There's the first knight being produced. Second knight being produced, so there's two stables there. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Get Another Wolf says, early walls good, late ones need to be stone walled if they're going to do any good. I mean, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to, maybe not stone walls, I would just continue house walling this. But if you delay enough, which these walls will do, you can take advantage of what the opponent is putting out during that delay time, even though it's not much. It's not much delay, but it does allow you to push the aggression, especially if you're on night. But yes, I was thinking, are we going to see the battle elephant? And we indeed do. As melee, very cheap elephants. Battle elephants cost -25 and -35% in castle and imperial age. So you can spam these bad boys. And there's 3 stables here actually. Well, knights are through, but battle elephants are there. So elephant's very slow, knights obviously faster. Gonna be hard to catch up with the knights. That is always an issue with elephants, is how slow they are. You can't force the engagements that you want. If they get into your economy, you can run away quite easily. But, you know, that was a good thing for Handed Swordsman. Not as bad for Cabbage Crew as it may have first appeared. We can wall this, of course, with the gate. The gate will go down quick, but that house is going to secure that. This is appropriately walled. There's no gap here. He's looking for the gap. He's not going to find it. Good forethought. You know, good try, but Cabbage Crew had the forethought to wall that off. And it's Battle Elephant versus Knights. And there's Knights coming through the back here. They even got through a palisade, but the houses are there. They might get through here if they're not quick. Oh, so close, so close. These Knights should wrap around. Yes, beautiful stuff. Oh, this could be a disaster for Cabbage Crew. They were doing so well. But yeah, Bourbon Knight spam is crazy. If they get in the back here, oh, this could be over. There's a lot of villagers. That's a lot of dead villagers. These knights do have chain barding armor as well. So TC Archer Fire is not terrible. Oh, gonna wall in. That is the great escape. Very great escape. Very well executed. Battle elephants will be surrounded though, so there's gonna be battle elephant pickoffs. Knights get in the back here. We're still maintaining a villager lead. As... Oh, we're doing something interesting there for Handed Swordsman. You know, you can still get a lot of value. Split these knights up. Split them up. I guess we're kind of going for this pocket here. More knights coming through as well. And getting villager pickoff up there. We've taken the villager lead for Handed Swordsman, but you've got to stay in here though, surely. You've got to keep disrupting that economy. You've been pushed out of the base. But the advantage that he had of running amok through the opponent's economy is now gone. And now these elephants can start chasing you back to your own base. So I think that was a little bit of a mistake there. Can get through this palisade here. And the rest of this has been walled off. Monks. This is perfect. Great adaptation here for Handed Swordsman. To introduce monks for the elephants. And again, Dual Domination tournament. You know, monks are an issue to control if you're only one player. If you've got 2 players, one can be on monks, one can be on knights and economy. But we're going devotion here for melee, which should help. That should help a lot actually. elephant pickoffs back here. The more elephants that you can pick off at a time, the better. And I feel like this palisade should be targeted, but if you've got this many knights, you're gonna break through somewhere. You know, a gate even is not going to suffice, I would say. I stand corrected. The gate was enough. I thought for sure with that amount of knights that would not even really be constructed. We've got a red elephant there. That's not a good sign if you are Cabbage Crew. And a dead red elephant at that as well. But actually this is fantastic. We're getting rid of the production buildings that are producing these elephants. I think that's incredibly smart. Monks going for elephants. Another 2 conversions. That's worth it even to get a monk killed. That is definitely worth it. Is the monk? No, I thought the monk was still in there for a second. Kind of scooched in between the legs of the elephants. No, he did die, he got trampled. And those are all the elephants cleared up. With a couple of elephants still remaining on the sides of Handed Swordsman. And actually we're in the base again, so this is relentless. This is classic Berber play. You want to just flood the map with knights that are so cheap. You think you've neutralized them in one area, oh wait, they're in my base somewhere else. So this is very good execution of this strategy. That stable also went down. This stable's going to go down. I think we're probably going to think about going full pikeman here for Cabbage Crew. You don't want to do that as melee. I don't think that's your strategy. You know, it is a strategy of necessity at this point. I definitely understand it. I do overuse pikemen more than anybody. But that's obviously not a power unit. And as these elephants are being drawn away here, knights are in here. And if we get onto this gold, even go for that mining camp. Well, make a choice. Yes, gonna go for this house. House is gonna go, you know, that's, what is that, 5 villages repairing that house? It's still going down. And once these villages are gone, and this gold access is gone, we do have gold up here of course, but this also being a very crucial source of gold. Trying to escape through the house wall doesn't succeed, and the GG is called. So the Berber Night Rush strategy takes it. Oh, I apologize. That is not the game. Okay, GG was called, I believe, but there was a reassessment, so maybe a communications issue on the side of some of the players. Oh, okay. So look at the chat here. No, apparently my partner left. I think GG'd and resigned, so I think the game is done, so you win. So there was definitely a miscommunication there. One of the players on Cabbage Crew left preemptively without confirming with his teammate. The other teammate wanted to continue, but he was abandoned in that game. But, you know, I can see it. I can see it. The game is looking a bit rough at this point. However, it is equal villager count. I would say the military is in favor of Handed Swordsman, especially with this unit composition. elephants being very slow, Berbers being very mobile. They do have economy on this side and this side that is stopping, it from raveling out of control. But I reckon you could just sit knights under here and kind of neutralize this with your aggression stance, and this castle is going to deny this goal. So I agree. I agree. It's not 100% lost, but it is in favor of Boyd. So that is one apiece. And we should say actually, Imperial Age was coming through for Handed Swordsman, and once they get Cavalier, yeah, it could be real rough. So let's go over to the screen, and we've got some more crowns and skulls to hand out. So we were on slopes, and yes, that was the home map for Handed Swordsman. They win that one. And they played as the Berbers. They won as the Berbers. Who was the losing third? It was the Malay. We're here, game 3, in the finals, Dual Domination, bracket 3, about 1200 elo. Cabbage Crew, 4-handed swordsman. They're the last two teams standing at the best of 7. It's 1-all. Cabbage Crew, this is their home map on Jungle Rumble. I called it. I said, I think it's Lithuanians because there are a lot of relics on this map. I think they have to focus on the relics here. If I'm counting just on my screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's a lot, right? That's more than usual, I believe. 7 relics, and you can just imagine the attack on your Cav with 7 relics. I think there might be a maximum you can get. Maximum of 4. So you're almost guaranteed 4 if you focus on it. So as Lithuanians, 4-handed swordsman, I think they might have even predicted this. Because Malians, obviously a very good civ against cavalry civs, because they have Farimba camels. So we'll just see the alligator go down and then have a look at those bonuses. So Farimba is cavalry get +5 attack. That's more attack than the relic bonus for Lithuanians. So if you can get into Farimba camels here for Malians, that could be the winning play. If they're going to wall off this side of the map, they're going to wall off this side of the map, and I think they might be going for a sneak villager strategy, and I think it's going to be spotted. This villager's going to need to move it. He's going to need to move fast. This has been noticed. Or has it? Oh, he was visible for a very small amount of time. Sneak villager. Sneaky, sneaky. Off into the darkness. I think the scout knows what's going on. This villager needs to wall himself very, very quickly. And when he finds him, oh, the crocodile got to him. The scout didn't even find the villager. Okay, he's still looking for the villager. He's looking for the villager who is now dead because he got assassinated by a crocodile. So Cabbage Crew are going to be paranoid AF until this villager is found, but he's dead and there's no body on the ground. That is absolutely hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. And this is a lot of wood to invest here. I don't agree with it. You know, Marlians, you do have cheaper buildings. Was that a factor in this choice? I hope not, because that's not a very good way to use the bonus. But you do know that they're not going to bust through this. You know, that's a lot of flags as well. You know, cloth isn't a resource in Age of Empires, but with that amount of flags, maybe it should be. But yes, I'm obviously, I'm not going to say stalling for time, but Jungle Rumble, we can play slow. It can play a bit slow. That is my only gripe with this map. But I can understand why it's picked in this map pool, because one player can be responsible for the inner ring and the other player can be responsible for the outer ring. It's like the two worlds competition. The two worlds competition for a different T90 tournament. One that I did not cover. But this is almost like two worlds. Apologies. So, I'm expecting a long one here, and I'm expecting Marlian Farimba against Lycus with 4 relics. Blacksmith Marketplace, very much expected. Just going up to Feudal now for 4-handed Swordsman. And actually they have a huge idle TC time. You should never have idle TC time in this tournament because you have 2 players. And I don't even mind, I don't even care if you've got 2 town centers. You should definitely not have 3 minutes of idle TC time. That's excessive. They've just got the Feudal. Cabbage Crew are already going up to Castle. So this does not bode well for our 4-handed friends. And wow. Okay, we're going Stonewall. So they really don't want Cabbage Crew to get in on this side. But I don't know if that's even what Cabbage Crew want. Because they've got their wood line here. They want to bust through this side. Whereas we've got no wood villages busting through this ring. Although, you know, busting through here is this. It's similar, I guess. And it goes into your arena. I think it's more useful to break in here, because let's say that you're cornered in the inner arena. Do you want your backup to come into the cornered area, or do you want to flank the enemy attacking your base? I think you want to flank so that you're attacking it at 2 angles, would be my opinion. But I've never played this map, so I wouldn't exactly know. Castle Age has come through for Cabbage Crew. We're coming through with villagers who plant a castle, which is interesting. You know, you think you probably play this match for the long game. I guess it is a long play to get the gold in the middle. You can't sacrifice, you know, you got to grab the middle by the horns in order to, you know, get all this gold. And, you know, look, we'll click the gold. There's 91,000 gold in the middle. So really, whoever wins the middle wins the game. Because this will sustain you for a little bit. There's no gold around your base. There is some gold to the sides. But we've forced a defensive castle inside the arena for the Malian player. It's not a position you want to be in. Not at all. And, you know, talking about the flanking, and you don't want to support inside your walls, you definitely want to break through here and support into the open area if you're Cabbage Crew. So, I think they're playing this exactly right. Lightest coming through. Gate is going to go down quite quickly, and probably even before that castle's up. So they can actually break through here. I was going to say, do they have ballistics? Because those knights got hit quite a lot. They don't have ballistics, but there's going to be the wall off. But you can sit on those houses, I reckon. Tempting to just go for villages under the TC because of how hard they hit. Good knight play. Sorry, good monk play. I'd love that. And it is going to cause the lightest to back off. So I'll be going into siege, and siege is what we're going to see. We're going to see rams, but the Gebeto are very good against rams because obviously they can do melee attacks at range. So I don't know. I'm not actually liking the ram play. This could be a fail. It could also be fine. So we'll see. Another castle though, which is interesting. And Gebeto are so fast. And very hard to micro with Gebeto as well. Monk doesn't get the conversion. Gebeto are going to try and attack the lighters, and that's not going to go well for them because they have very low hit points. So that's a clear up of, let's say, 5 Gebeto. Double castle. We're going into the upgrades. Got rams. But this ram push is going to have to be heavily supported by Lightus. Because if the Gebeto attack those rams, that's going to be a problem. But yes, TC's on the sides. I don't rate the sides at all. Like, there's nothing here. What do you do on the side? Like, honestly. There's no objectives here. But we've got one relic in that monastery, one relic there, so we're on to +2 attack. Oh, and sorry, we're actually attacking castle villages. Does actually go down Gebeto here, so I don't think this is gonna be great for the rams. And yep, Gebetos get into the castle, they pop out the other side. This is brilliant stuff here from Handed Swordsman. Happens again. They're going to have to do a little dance here. Ring around the rosy. They split the lighters up, which I love. And now they're going to have to actually run away to the other castle. So that was pretty tricky there from both players. I think you kind of just go all in at this point here for Cabbage Crew. Take those castles. Does work in the end, but those rounds will go down from those couple of Cabbetto. These castles are in range of one another. Villagers attacking Lightus is not great. And we actually have chain barding armor on the side of Cabbage Crew, and sitting under TCs in that situation is fine. And we're going to continue with the battering ram. We're going to try and get into the back of the base, which might draw some of the Cabbetto away. Going for Imperial for Handed Swordsman. I don't think they'll have a castle by the time they get there. And they might not have that many villages either. And woo, there was some quick walling there. In behind that. But this might be delaying the inevitable. And they're actually going to not even go for the castle. They're going to go for the town centre. That house is gone. Villagers are going to die here. They're going to run to a TC that's going to be nearly taken out. There's no way those villagers survive. Only got one Cabbetto left. And that's the GG. So, very well executed there for Cabbage Crew. Farimba Cavalry, not even a factor in that game, because Cabbage Crew did not let it get to that point. And I think that's wise, because if you do get Farimba Camels, then you're probably in a bit of trouble there for Lithuanians. So I think that's really good awareness for Cabbage Crew. But Jungle Rumble, Cabbage Crew, that's a win. And we've got the win here for Lithuanians. And we've got the loss here for the Malians. All right. Game 4 of this best of sevens final for Dual Domination tournament, bracket 3, 1200 Elo. And we are on Pacific Islands. So Pacific Islands, not a map that has really been picked this tournament. And Handed Swordsman have gone for it. And I think it's a bit of a monkey wrench kind of pick. It might take the opponents off guard. It might take Cabbage Crew off guard. But they've gone for a very strong civ in Armenians. Very strong on water. Because, as we see here, the Galling Line and drones fire an additional projectile. That's very strong. The second projectile isn't as strong as the first projectile, it should be mentioned, but to have another arrow from your galleys is very, very good. And Handed Swordsman have also picked a naval civ, not, I wouldn't say the top tier naval civ, but a very good one, and that's because their ships regenerate 15 hit points per minute. If you've got a lot of ships that are damaged, you're basically generating more hit points, more value. You're getting a lot of value from that tech. So we'll see which one of these bonuses wins out, but it is Handed Swordsmen who are the ones who have picked this map, so we will expect them to have a rough idea of how they want to play this, but there's some transport ship shenanigans here, hopping off onto the home island of Cabbage Crew, but losing that fight. Although, sorry, not losing. They have 15 hit points each, so this is an even battle, but they're going to go their separate ways. But it's something to keep an eye out for. We already have a dock here, the Cabbage Crew. Only going for the dock now is Handed Swordsman. As we're exploring the islands, the exploration of the islands is very important, especially if one player gets one island and the other player gets the other island. You want to have a bit of an idea of what the enemy's island looks like. And of course, know where you want to drop off your little villages and where the best spot to first settle is. So they're both having a look around. Let's see what Handed Swordsmen have seen. They've seen a bit of both islands, but not much of either. This is good to know because this is probably where the settling will take place. For Pickled Cabbage, because that's closest to their home island. But getting a fast feudal time is pretty important on this map. You want to get a fast feudal so that you're first the galleys. And I say galleys, I don't say fire ships. You probably want to get to galleys, not fire ships, just because of how open the map is. But I've actually had a bit of advice on this map because I love to play these water maps. If you look at the map, there's actually not a lot of fish on this map. And you would think there'd be much more on a map called Pacific Islands. I can't remember exactly what the alternative map is that kind of looks like this. It's called Migration, is that correct? Very similar map that has a lot more fish. Pacific Islands doesn't have that many fish. We're going for a migration here for Cabbage Crew. Double dock here for Handed Swordsman. And actually we've already migrated with a bunch of villages already. And this has been spotted and blocked for a time. And Pickled Cabbage says, rude. So a bit of fun had by both players here. We'd love to see. Both teams, sorry. But double dock should be nice, and Handed Swordsmen are going to be first to feudal. And they're going to get 2 villages, remember, from their starting TC. Very strong bonus for Bengalis. I mean, the sound, the water buffalo sound, is hilarious. I want to see this buffalo die so we can hear this stupid sound again. We're not going to see it. So my wish does not come true. Although, here we go. Oh, no buffalo sound. That's a shame. Anyway, 2 docks for Cabbage Crew as well, and they're in Feudal 2. So I've already got galleys out for Handed Swordsman, getting fletching in. House has been rushed down. They haven't migrated, by the way, so they're not on a new island yet. But these galleys are going to come forward, and they're going to meet 2 galleys here. So 2 galleys versus 2 galleys. got more galleys being produced. It's going to be a micro battle. And it's pretty much even there. For the exchange, we have migrated to wood. Going to need to keep up the gold production to maintain this. And it's going to be a galleoff in the central channel. Remember, 400 swordsmen do have fletching, so it should go their way. And I don't know if we even have a blacksmith. We do have a blacksmith, and we're going fletching now. So a little bit late on the fletching there, but we're going triple dot. So we're trying to get to overwhelming numbers. And the micro here being a little bit better for Cabbage Crew. Good targeting there though. Very good targeting. And I think that came just in time before fletching kind of came in, so that advantage was maintained. But gonna have to keep the micro up here, of course. Don't go for the fishing ships, they're not important. You've got to win water, you can't give up any kind of advantage you once had for going for fishing ships. So, you know, that's greedy, and I think they paid the price there because they probably could have got another galley down. And if there was one less galley there, they can't chase. You know, repairing ships, I think it's overrated for galleys, potentially, but what do I know? I'm a noob. You can do it if you have enough attention, which you do have in the Dual Domination tournament. Just gotta keep producing galleys though. And can you do that with 7 on gold? Might be an issue. And they don't have the numbers here. Now they've got the numbers. So just a few little things to tidy up, I reckon, for 400 swordsmen. They've been on the cusp of winning water for a while, but haven't quite managed it. And again, they're getting good value here though, and they've actually blocked the escape point, which is fantastic. And it's a bit of a micro battle. However, I think getting up close for 400 swordsmen has been really thoughtful. You know, if you can't micro, which I cannot, by the way, get up close, and then there's no chance for escape. So I really love that for them. But the management on the economy side isn't as good, I would say. As there's a scout battle going on at the back there too. Again, holding on to a tenuous lead here on water. And yeah, missing a lot of shots. Oh yeah, just as Cabbage Crew, I think are really good microers, and they've seemed to get the advantage time and time again with good micro. And they're just going to bide their time on water for more ships to appear. And they've actually, I think, drawn this to a stalemate when, again, 400 swordsmen had the advantage on water numerous times and could have just tipped it into the favor of themselves and kind of won water, and haven't quite managed to do so. You know, just going so hard on wood. I think you need this gold. Definitely need that gold. And are they even aware of that? They are. Well, but they're going up the castle. Alright. So, that's going to cost you on water, of course. So you need to stall for time. But you might not have any boats once you get there. That's the issue. And villagers who are repairing boats, one of them carks it and sinks into the ground. Here comes another villager, his brother, finish the job. But we need to definitely keep producing galleys here. You know, again, greediness is an issue for both players. You know, I think getting a fire ship out here, I always love getting a fire ship out here because it just has that pushback potential. It can be microed down for sure, but I think it's worth it just for the pushback potential. And Cabbage Crew should be continuing to push here. And you know, I haven't mentioned again that Armenians have that extra arrow, and yeah, we're going to need to get Bodkin in really fast here. We're going to need to get the ship upgrade in. It's behind this galley. A stall for time here if I was Handed Swordsman. Just wait 35 more seconds and you're fine. Although so there's not much time difference on this at all, but keep these numbers and wait till you get to the next one and then you're good. Oh, don't run away now. Keep this advantage. It's for the very short time that you have it. It's very important to keep that. But this has been a very close water battle. Armenians are probably going to take a few losses here though. But the ball is squarely in the court of Handed Swordsman now, when previously it was at the Armenians' base. But there should be a cleanup here, which should tip the scales in a good way for Handed Swordsman. Don't let them loop out. Again, attention should be 100% focused here. You can take these 4 boats out. You can't let these boats escape. You gotta push every little advantage you can on water. I guess they're worried about these docks, but you can always rebuild docks. Because now these ships are going to come back. And you're going to be cornered. So, a few things to tighten up there, and you know, I'm not paying that much attention to land right now. Ballistics is going to help immensely. And Cabbage Crew have not gone for ballistics yet. But ballistics are going to be amazing, and that might turn the tide for Handed Swordsman. And go for the dodge technique. It's not working for them. It's 100% not working for them. But here comes the ballistics is it. Ballistics is coming in for Cabbage Crew now. So we're only going to have a 30-second advantage on this ballistics. But the ship numbers are starting to get out of control, I think, for Armenians. The numbers are just too large. And their hold on this island is only solidifying. The hold that Four-handed swordsmen have on this island is not that great. And now we only have 3 docks, sorry. But we have 4 docks, 5 docks on the side of the Armenians player, and they're just going to keep pushing water. Even a 5 ship. I love the 5 ship edition. It's so good. It's so good. It's got that pushback potential. And we're going to go for the castle in the channel. It's risky. It's going to cause a lot of villager kills, and again, it is a a distraction. Fire ships are going to push those ships back while villagers are going to die, which is amazing. Oh, wow. We even pull out. That's what she said. No, let's not just make that joke. But this castle will probably go up, but it is a lot of dead villagers, and it's probably worth the dead army. Armenians get drones, by the way, so I don't think it's even that important to get a castle in the channel there. Because once Dromans come through, you don't have to get the cannon galleon upgrade or chemistry. Is there even a cannon galleon upgrade anymore? Do you still have to get chemistry and then cannon galleon? Surely. That seems like a hangover from the past. When you can just get Dromans immediately when you get to Imperial. There's a demo ship in there, by the way. This could be huge as he comes back. Let the demo out. Fantastic shot. Fantastic. These players are on a heater, one might say. But we are quite far away from Imperial because of the amount of water investment. And this castle is going to continue to play a factor. It's going to take up all of this attention. But we're going to go for a castle of our own, which is going to clog up this channel for both players. Tiger in the background, there's a lot going on. Tiger dies. Might get some return villager kills. There's a funky looking monk gonna convert ship. And does. Castle gonna go up, and these ships need to retreat. You know, they have lingered far too long, and they're just gonna run into the enemy. Who are going to grind them to a halt. You know, retreat gets more ship numbers. These ships cannot go home. So you can end up taking a very favourable trade eventually here. So I think that's a bit of a mistake here for Handed Swordsman. And I think we just need to play it into Imperial. But if you look at the kills and deaths, it's very even, but that eco kill death ratio, 19 to 1. Oh, there was going to be another epic play there, but doesn't quite make it. You know, castle with ballistics and bodkin. They rush past that castle, but for a cost. And I think we just need to sell some resources, get to Imperial. And get up to Imperial, get the Dromans. Because once Dromans are through, I think that could be the game. And that's purely off those villager numbers, those kills. And, you know, land has been completely ignored, by the way. There definitely could have been some drops here. Players moving around the sides now as the channel is clogged up. Clogged up like a loo at a musical festival. There's nothing going to get through that pipe. We've run into a bunch of ships here. I think you can take this fight as Cabbage Crew with the extra projectiles. Yep, I'll just take this fight. 100%. Because your galleys are so much stronger. And you don't want the Bengalis to take advantage of their healing ships. Castle over here. Love this. But there was another channel castle here. But once we get to Imperial and we start trebucheting from here, what can you end up doing, really? I think Cabbage Crew have transitioned to land much, much better. You know, even late for them, perhaps, but we just haven't done it at all for Two-Handed Swordsman. We're not even producing Ratha right now. Ratha could have potentially prevented that castle going up, if noticed in time. Now this is an even fight, but I think Armenians with the extra bolts probably win it. Especially if you focus down. Still even. Dead even. But it's actually the Bengalis that will win that. Trebuchets coming through. I'm expecting Dromans eventually. But double castle means that those trebuchets are going to be hard to take down. Composite Roman actually. These ships are trapped, by the way. I should have mentioned that. But trebuchet over the channel is also very underrated. And sometimes forgotten about. Here come the Ratha. But there's not going to be enough of them against two castles. So both castles being attacked. We are Imperial for the Bengalis as well. But it's going to come too late. There's the Droman, and that's the difference. Two Droman on this castle. Droman on this castle as well. So this is looking rough here for Handed Swordsman. Castle goes down at the exact same time. Perfectly synchronized. And the GG is called. Wow. So 130 ships to 97. That was a real naval battle. But a really fun one. That was a really fun game of Pacific Islands. And there's going to be some haters out there hating Pacific Islands, but I love Pacific Islands. I really love Pacific Islands. But yeah, let's head over to the scores. And oh, we've got our first win on an opponent's map. But that's Armenians for the win. And this is Pacific Islands with the skull. Put in the middle there. And we're going to go for another skull on the Bengalis. So, we're at match point. If Cabbage Crew win one more match, they will win the whole tour. Right. We're here, game 5. Match point and tournament point for Cabbage Crew. And they're playing as the Georgians on the map. A very strong civilization, which we'll get to in a second. Handed Swordsman. This is their home map, and they've picked Slavs. And I don't mind the Slav pick. I don't mind it because obviously neither of these civs take advantage of any water bonuses, which is interesting. But it is a slower, grindier type of map because you don't have direct access to your opponent because you've got a body of water in the middle. You have to walk around. It's more defendable, generally speaking, is what I've seen. So the Slav bonus of farmers working 15% faster could come into play. I think you can have a bit of a boom on this map, and Slavs are good, and they obviously have very good cavalry with their Boyar special unit and just in general. But they're actually an infantry and siege civilization, so they also have those options. I like the pick from them. However, they are against Georgians, and Georgians, they have the regenerating horsemen, which are generally speaking pretty overpowered, although it has been nerfed. But they have a arguably better bonus or better unique unit in the Monasta. But look at this. This is a dead villager making a dock. Can't remember if that is before loom or not. They don't have loom. So now they're going to have to take 2 villagers over here to make this dock. There's a very good start here for Handed Swordsman. Boar being brought in, second boar as well. Not directly under the TC, but that's fine. We've consistently seen Handed Swordsmen get their scout lower in HP, and Cabbage Crew have capitalized on that time and time again. So I think if you're Handed Swordsman, you've done a bit of scouting of the base, which I love. Time to go home and get this scout off your back, because you need that scout to explore the rest of the map. Map control is so important on this map. So I think this is a little bit greedy from them. You need the scout to explore the map. And I think you're covering old ground at this point. I think you're just throwing your scout away. But interestingly, remember, this is Handed Swordsman's map pick. And they haven't even gone for a dock of their own, which I find confusing, but there may be a greater plan here as the scout continues to run Ring a Rosie around Cabbage Crew's base. And they're 400 swordsmen are actually going to get to feudal age quicker. Oh, pause there unnecessarily, unfortunately. This is, it's a risky game. I mean, it's a risky game. I guess you're preventing Cabbage Crew from exploring themselves? Hang on a second. Militia? Is this like a next level play in that you've distracted the scout for so long that it has prevented the scouting of the men-at-arms rush? It's nice. It's really nice. You know, so what do I know? Like, I guess Handed Swordsman. This is great to mention. I guess they've thought opponents over-invest on water. So we can pull off a men-at-arms strategy and they won't be ready for it. They won't be able to prepare from it. Health goes down from a villager. They're going to have to get through these walls though. Oh, very good stuff here from Cabbage Crew. Very satisfying. But that did take 5 villagers to knock down. And you've put yourself in an interesting corner. A corner with not many villages, not many resources. We haven't even gone for the men-at-arms upgrade. And so we have gone for fishing ships, but we are going for fire galleys. This is a very interesting strat from Handed Swordsman, and I think it's working a treat. Because they can always reboom on water afterwards. Or, you know, again, it might be another diversion tactic in the sense that you make your opponent over-invest on water while you continue to do most of your investment on land. That is highly possible. They're still dealing with land armies. We're going to have a little repair villager. Double fire ship. So we haven't given up water. We haven't given up land. So we're doing it all. And we're even going into Slav horse collar farms. Meanwhile, we haven't had to wall because the aggression has been on the opponent. This is great stuff. Really great stuff. I think we're going to lose water though, but I actually think that is fine at this point. I mean, I say that it's fine, but it's not actually fine. Because there are a lot of free fish here. That's like 1,400 fish that don't require farms. So again, the Slav pick is, I like it. However, and you know, I think they've made the conscious choice of, hey, we're Slav. Why would we want to invest in fishing ships? We want to invest in farms. So we'll take the enemy off one. Which, you know, is a logic. It's an interesting logic. Interesting choices. And these men-at-arms still getting so much value in the fact that it is forcing all of this wood to be invested into maintaining the walls. But where do you go here for Handed Swordsman? Remember, your back is up against the wall. You're 3-1 down. So we're going to need a miracle. And, you know, we've been in feudal a while and we want to go scouts as Georgians. And we haven't really been able to do that. Mission accomplished for the militia as they walk triumphantly back home. No villager kills, but hey, we did a good job. We made them invest in extra wood. We're going to keep at it. Persistence is key. Castle ages at the same time. So what both players have done has worked for them. Nobody is particularly behind, although I say nobody's particularly behind. However, Cabbage Crew do have the eco advantage with the fishing ships. And I would stop investing in fishing ships at this point, which they've done. But that is a huge advantage to have going into Castle Age, is to have these fishing ships basically bring in free food. That's free food. There's 7 fishing ships, sorry, is that 7? Yeah, 7 fishing ships of food that you are not getting, that is probably not going to be offset by a farm bonus. So I would say advantage here for Cabbage Crew again. But let's see what Handed Swordsman can pull off. Cabbage Crew also, Handed Swordsman also pinned in to a corner, as is Cabbage Crew. I've seen this work from poles, as there've been full works back here and then they've kind of broken out. So we might see something similar here for Handed Swordsman. It's not a full work, but the farms are incredible. This spearman is going to meet a watery grave. It's going to be crisp, burnt like bacon, and then pulled off in the shallows. Second town centre going down here for Cabbage Crew. I think we're not going to do that for Handed Swordsman, as the knights have... Oh, no, we have been able to break out with knights. So I think we're going 1 TC knight. On double stable. Going to be a slight advantage here for Cabbage Crew with a couple of fire ships also doing damage. You're not going to want to take a fight in the fire. It's probably a mistake. So that's slightly underrated. TC is going to go out here on the stone, which I love, because, you know, I think your win condition for Slavs is getting into Boyar, which will be very effective against what the Georgians have to put out with their cavalry options. Boyar's like anti-cavalry. Oh, they wanted to take out that very weak ship. So I understand that, actually. That was fine. Monk coming through. Doesn't get the conversion, but it's going to fend off those knights. Yeah, you don't need any text to get ships with monks, which is interesting. I would think you need redemption or something for that. You know, anything that has wood in it, a unit that has wood in it, might need redemption. That will be my my little rule. And also good for healing. Healing monks, very underrated. And we're going light cav. Why are we going light cav for the old Georgians? Don't think we want to go light cav. We're going to bring them back to the monks. What's this? Oh, we even get the conversion. That's wonderful. That is a bit of good fortune for Handed Swordsman. We're going chain barding armor. Not feeling confident to go in. Not yet anyway. Oh, sorry. Light cav, of course, is for the monk. And that has been perfectly lured away. So the monks are taken out. And, you know, chain barding armor is pretty critical here. And I think they've realized that chain barding armor is in, and they've gone for it themselves. So there's a lot of weak knights. But remember the Georgian bonus, mounted units regenerate HP, so all of these really weak knights are gonna regenerate. This is the power of Georgians at their best. But taking this fight as iron casting comes in, that is strategic because they might not notice, they might have noticed initially, but not mid-fight. That always seems to be a little bit of a strategy to take the fight just before the advantages come in. We're going 3 TC behind this. I always call that a risk mitigation strategy. You know, because if this ends up failing up front, hey, you've got economy at the back to rely upon. Some people would say, well, if you just went all in with your knights in the first place, you might not have to rely upon an all-in strategy. I think that's fair. I do prefer to err on the side of caution. To build more TCs when you are ahead, especially when you're delaying for a castle as well. But knights numbers are definitely in favour of Handed Swordsman. I would build a demo ship just to prevent any kind of thought of coming around this way, you know, limit the map even more. Probably overthinking it, of course. Quite a few free hits here on these knights. And there are a lot of weak knights on the side of Handed Swordsman. And we're actually going to retreat to monks. Okay, that makes sense. And we've been pushed out, so this TC is going to go up. We're going to heal the knights, but remember, Cabbage Crew, as the Georgians, get that HP regeneration for free. And you need a monk on the side of Handed Swordsman. On Cabbage Crew. But this looks like a fight very much in favour of Handed, which is interesting. As we continue to take the fight, and you know, this is purely to get this castle up, but even so, I think that is a decent exchange. But I think Cabbage Crew are playing this nicely in the sense that they're taking advantage of that HP regeneration with the kiting in and out of knights. I think that's been very nice for them, but I think now they're overextending. I think this is too much. Because now you're going to lose all your knight numbers. Just as I say that, we're taking advantage of their bonuses nightly. They go and do this. This is not necessary. You're just throwing away knights. You don't need to do this. I think they've lost patience here. And you're not going to be able to take advantage of that bonus. Yeah, I mean, it is annoying, definitely. Four-handed swordsman? But I don't think that's worth it. Because four-handed swordsman has 25 knights, 5 bowyards. There's 10 knights on the side of Cabbage Crew. Yeah, you got a few villages, but does that really matter at this stage of the game? Bowyards are going to shred with their 6 melee armor. Yep, take that fight with Bowyard. I mean, that's going to be hard to lose. And pathing around their own outpost kind of, you know, stops them there. And we're doing exactly what we should be doing, is expanding in this moment of aggression on this particular map. The numbers are dwindling for the Georgians, and that is hard to say. You push this advantage, keep pushing that advantage. You know, those knights could have definitely been taken out. And they've missed their chance a little bit here, which is a little bit frustrating. But I guess they're playing for the castle, which I think is good, because you want that ideal trebuchet position. Decide where you're going to put it. Thank you. You know, we're going back to kiting on the side of Cabbage Crew, which is great. It's going to allow them to keep those numbers up. Oh! Again, they nearly get down, but again, this is a bit of a suicide mission for knights. So even if this does succeed, which it's not going to, you're going to lose all your knight numbers. And for what? I mean, okay, you have prevented the castle. Yes, well done. However, you have no army left, and there's just going to be more villages coming. But you better protect that castle. Otherwise, the same thing's going to happen all over again. No, because it's so close to being up. But we are already up to Imperial. Oh, we're going up to Imperial, I should say. So, those troops are going to be up very fast. You know, sitting under castle fire and TC fire, not an issue really, it would turn out. Rams come through. I wouldn't advise this because they have villages. Good luring. Back to the castle. There's no way into the base though. So you just have to keep producing bowyards. I think Slav is the perfect pick, really, against Georgians. I wonder what the win rate is for these two cities against one another. But yeah, pikemen, obviously a resource favorable trade, but it's not going to get the job done. You may need to mix in some skirmishes eventually, I would say. It's barracks. Infantry, of course. I mean, we're playing at Slavs, remember. So yeah, we're going to go into the men-at-arms champion line. And trebuchets are coming out 2 minutes away here for Cabbage Crew. And a lot of pikemen just being tossed away. You can say that it is a resource favorable trade, but it means you're not going to be able to mass pikemen, and do you even really want to go into pikemen as Georgians? Not really. Longswords coming out. Look at all these pikemen. That's crazy. There's 5 barracks, and I think they're all producing pike. That is such a lot of resources. And I would have gone for the castle first rather than the TC, because we're nearly into Imperial. You don't want the opportunity for them to bounce back with trebs. But this is a lot of stone wasted, of course. And you have the treb advantage, yes, but that castle could have been down. That castle could have been gone. And they're going to start producing trebs of their own. And we're making a transition here. And that transition could leave the door open slightly. Remember, we have expanded out the back, which is good to see. But this is not going to be enough time to keep the castle up with all those villages. And now we can't produce any more trebs. And that's going to be an issue. And look at all these pike. There's 42 pikemen on the floor. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But trebs should just focus down this other treb. That could be a one-shot. That's a one-shot for sure. Oh, all of the treb shots missed. I think there's a lot of misses there. I don't like... the RNG on this is crazy. It's finally got down. But all those pikemen also go down. Remember, there was 40, and now there's 4. So that was definitely not worth it. And 400 swordsmen are coming back with a vengeance. I wonder if there's arson on these 2-handed swordsmen. This is going to get very confusing because we have 4-handed swordsmen going into 2-handed. Which is pretty funny. But I'll go back into bowyard at this point. Until they actually commit to pikes again, I think you just go back into bowyer. But we're going into light cab, so we're thinking raiding. I think that's fair. Champion Druzhna with a bit of raiding. I think I like that. I think I like that a lot. So that's better than my my suggestion, I would say. But we're going to be running away up north for Cabbage Crew. Got a bit of raiding back here. which, you know, there's a lot of villages that have nowhere to go. So that was a really good raid, and it's still going, and that's because of, wow, it's called the GG, but that raid was crazy. Killed 7 units. TC did there though. There's a lot of villages that will die here and here, and there's a knight up here. So even with this raid, as successful as it was with 2 units, cannot beat what was going on down at home. So, bit of a bounce back. 3-2, anyone? 4-handed swordsman, come back. We shall see, we shall see. What do we have left? We have 2 Cabbage Crew maps. So 4-handed swordsmen have to win on 2 of the opponent's maps. That's going to be rough. However, 4-handed swordsmen do have their goth pick on Copenhagen. Would love to see that. Got a real chance of winning if that happens. And then Mired, I think we're going to see Spanish on that as well. Mired, could we see some Korean tower rush? I don't think it's a Poles or Hindustanis map, because it's very aggressive. And those civs need a bit of time to gear up. So maybe it's a Korean's archer rush on Mired, whereas it might be Magyars on Mired, and they go full scouts. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay. I'm going to put up the next game. All right, we are on game 6, would you believe it, of this finals of Dual Domination. We're on Copenhagen. This has been a favourite map for a lot of players in this tournament. And we have Vietnamese here on Cabbage Crew, which is good behind walls. You can boom here with economic upgrades, no food, and research 100% faster. No, research 100% faster, and the cost no, which is quite a strong eco upgrade, because you can get the eco upgrades faster, and that is always good to have. 2-handed swordsman, gone for Hindustanis. Also good behind walls, but primarily because of the cheaper villager cost. However, I was expecting the Goth pick, and their Ram and Huskarl strategy. I think I've got that right. I think 4-handed swordsman ran that strategy and saw a lot of success on it. So, interesting that they've gone for Hindustanis instead. However, I think they probably expected Vietnamese. I'm not sure. Did they expect Vietnamese because Spanish was in play? But they might be thinking Gulan for Vietnamese. And if they were expecting Spanish, they might have thought Camel. So Hindustanis really does it all and can counter a lot of things. So maybe that's why they thought, we'll go Hindustanis. But yes, you can go for very fast feudal times, up times on this map. And it's regicide. So whoever kills the king first wins. We have the king in this tower with the flag here, the 4-handed swordsman. And we have a Cabbage Crew king in this beautiful looking castle here for the Vietnamese. So we've gone for double dock already for Hindustanis. Double dock as well here for Cabbage Crew actually, so it's a dock off. But Hindustanis are going to get to feudal first and have the advantage with galleys. And now I always assumed that this map would be good with fire ships because I didn't think there was much maneuverability in this body of water. Turns out there is. I've seen galleys for most players on this map. And we're going to see it again. Fire ships has kind of fallen on its face a couple of times, as galleys have had enough opportunity to move back and forward. But yeah, blacksmith for fletching on these galleys, pivotal, I would say. We're sneaking around the back here, and that sneak was perfect in the fog of war. And they're going to be annoyed that they didn't see that. And they should be, definitely. Because they're not going to have any fishing ships. Well, I say that. They won't have fishing ships. And reinforcements on the galleys should come through. But it's actually Cabbage Crew that will have more galleys in the end. So, very interesting start. Getting the water advantage is very important, very critical, and I feel like Cabbage Crew are going to get this advantage because I know that the production has been there. Hasn't quite been here on Hindustani side. Does get that galley pick up there. I'm gonna, again, greed. I don't know if greed is good, because you might lose your advantage on water. You could have taken out all the boats by now, and then have the fishing ships free to take. Again, greed. I don't like this. Get the boats first and then the fishing ships. Because you're now at a disadvantage when you really could have had the advantage. And you're trapped in a corner with not much opportunity to escape. And this game is all about spiraling numbers, right? One little advantage can create a big advantage later on. And I think the greed is costing Cabbage Crew here. They could have had all of the fishing ships and the galley. So just a little bit short-sighted. As we've seen time and time again, though, the micro has been superb on the side of Cabbage Crew. And I think we're probably going to see it again. Yep. Really weak ships here and good micro. So good management of the ships. And we're actually stopping on water for Handed Swordsman because we want to go to castle. That might work if you can stall for time. I think it's possible. Really gonna have to stall for time here though, as these galleys are gonna be quite late out. And I think you might even keep them in the docks. And a bit of a misclick there. But they're going to keep enough of an advantage. More galleys come forward though. Still not picked up the castle age 4 Cabbage Crew. Still producing villagers. So I think you keep your galleys inside. Get the upgrade. Pop out. Take water. I think that's the play. Villager coming down bottom to dock there. Haven't seen that played out in a while. We're still so far away from castle as well, guys. I'm not liking that. The Cabbage Crew. After these 2 galleys get produced, we're going to get Bodkin. And we are probably going to get ship upgrade or not. Because fire ships will still do damage. And this galley might not even get out. We'll have to see. Curious why we didn't go for the upgrade. So we're on 1 dock now, and castle age is coming up. But we've opted to go for land. You know, I don't hate that. Obviously, the importance of water is less so at this point. And we're going to try and go for kind of a house wall of sorts. And focusing on taking the resources on land. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. But we have got fishing down the bottom for Cabbage Crew. King gonna make a run for this very far tower. And we're gonna go for Gulams, I reckon. Stone into castle, and then you're gonna be able to beat return archers. I mean, we don't even need a castle if I'm being honest, because I keep on forgetting we start with a castle. But it's unique unit versus unique unit, and the Gulam is gonna shred. Why even go into return archers if you're playing against Hindustan? I think it's a very interesting choice. But this house wall will be completed eventually. Gulam out. I love this unit. I haven't seen this unit in some time though. Oh, and petards. Oh, wow. Okay. We're gonna need to see a siege workshop somewhere. Outpost is gonna clock this as well. Oh, gonna find that villager. Goodbye, villager. And here come the potatoes. Where are they going to target, though? That's the question. Monastery coming through. Castle going to be wanting to be put on the outpost, which is pretty funny. And there's a rattan archer there, actually. And they're going to dodge the shots with the cards. And they're through. Good house walling, yes, but it's a lot of resources to invest. Yeah, Gulam are going to shred rattan archers. And are we locking the Gulams in? That's because they've done a poor job. Oh, we could have gone through the gate there. That would have been incredible. We just missed out on that opportunity. This secures this gold as well, by the way. So that's taking gold away from Cabbage Crew. They got stone and gold down here. But we have expanded around here for Handed Swordsman. We've got gold here. This town centre is awful. I don't know what that town centre is. The elephants coming in. I think that plays into the hands of Handed Swordsman because you can then go into your camels. And I think that's the unit you really want to get into. They're going to chase this elephant across the world. But yeah, I would be going into camels after seeing those elephants. Oh, monks. Of course monks. I always forget monks for elephants. That is the best counter to elephants, is monks. And armored elephants are going to be good. You know, I haven't seen this map play out this way in quite a while. I did in the first couple of games. But this can really turn into a bit of a macro management kind of game. Elephant actually can't get in here. There it goes. So this could be a bit of a resource sink for sure. As this costs stone, and wow, we are actually going up to Imperial. There's a crazy timing. With all this aggression, with this amount of Gulam, going up to Imperial. Oh, we've actually converted these villages. That's hilarious. Can't convert those elephants in because we've run out of faith. But that's 2 free villager kills. And we're going to think about trebs. So upper hand here for Handed Swordsman. Looked dicey to begin with in the series. Going down 3-1, but we're now at 3-2 and we're upper hand in this game number 6. Armored Elephant comes back. I think that's wise. You can definitely utilize that at a later date. Funnily enough, it is actually Cabbage Crew with the point lead. I don't particularly see why. I guess it's the dominance on water that's done it. but I much prefer Handed Swordsman right here. And interestingly, we're deciding not to go into Camel. That is not on the cards at this stage. I guess we haven't seen enough elephant to justify that. But I'm expecting treads. Expecting treads very, very shortly. And actually a bit of market play. It happens to me all the time. You always forget how expensive treads are. And as soon as you get to Imperial, you're like, oh, I don't have any resources. Oh well, we've got the archery range with chemistry. So we're thinking skirt. It can't be skirts. Oh no, we're thinking hand cannoneers, of course. This is Hindustanis, of course. They have great hand cannoneers, especially with their unique tech. You don't need to risk it here with your Gulam. We do need another the troops coming from this castle. So we have a bit of an army banked up in this castle, so there will be the pop out eventually. Chain barding armor, leather archer armor. Look at all these monks. I'm wondering if we're going to see some good monk micro here or some bad micro. Monk micro. That I don't know. Third trebuchet, when it comes out, that should probably do it. There's actually a fourth one. You know, I think once you get to 3 and 4, then you reach critical mass to be able to take castles out effectively. And it's going to be too late to save this. Far too late to save. So we are through the defenses. Somehow this is an even score game, but I much prefer Handed Swordsman right now. And what are we going to do? We're going to take down another castle, or are we going to go through to the economy? Gonna throw away some of these light cav. They do get a couple of monk kills for sure, but this castle's gonna absolutely cark it. And these elephants are so slow that they'll never be able to get here in time. Hand cannoneers are gonna come through like crazy. Monks for elephants. No conversions. Oh, there's one conversion on an elephant that is now basically dead. Castle's down. Gulam obviously not great against elephants. And probably neither is hand cannoneer. We've got a bombard cannon. So winning this by sheer numbers, not by unit composition, I would say. The score is ticking up in favour of Handed Swordsman now. We've got Hussar, which is going to be great if we can get into the economy. If we get Gulam in here as well, that's going to be pretty crazy. Tread being taken out by Hussar. That tread being repaired, which I think is an interesting detail. Oh wow, we're going into elite battle level. which is a pretty good combination, but are you going to have any units to actually go into that unit? Are we going to have enough resources? Enough economy? This treb is being repaired. Missed shots? Done. So that's the last treb. They do have another castle back here for producing more trebs. But we're not going to be on the attack for a while, and this economy is very disrupted. This might be preemptive though after seeing elite battle element. We're going to need to be packed up again. And we might need an answer for elite battle element, because they're going to clean up hand cannons. Hit and run could be pretty decent. Pretty poor accuracy, of course. We just need to continue getting into the economy at this point. Oh wow, okay, we've gone barracks and we've gone pikemen. That'll be good enough, I reckon. It's obviously, ooh, might hit your own units a little bit as well. It'll be good enough. It's obviously still not great against elite battle elephant. Camels was always what I was expecting here, and we're going to go for that now. We're going to go for guard tower. Okay. I don't know why, but we are. Deleting the walls, and there's a surround on those hand cannoneers. That wasn't expected by a Handed Swordsman. Don't micro this, just run. Wait for your camels to emerge. We've got a return bombard cannon. And these bombard cannons are gonna go down. So we're waiting on this transition for camels. And that will do very well against everything that is up. That they're up against. We are still on the economy and doing raids here, which has been very nice. Bombard cannons against hand cannoneers and trebs. Really good. Heavy camel rider and imperial camel riders, and they're going to end up revealing this. It's going to be very good. And somehow this gate is being reconstructed again. Cannonball to the face. Cannon taken out. We have elite skirmisher, which would have been very good against hand cannoneer, but I don't know if we're going to keep producing hand cannoneer. We're even going into elite gulag. I'm not sure we know what we're producing at this point, because we're producing everything under the sun. Can we make a choice, please? Are we going camel? Are we going gulam? Are we going pike? Are we going hussar? What are we going for? I really don't know at this point. I think camel was a fair play, but we're still going to hand cannoneer. I think that's the worst possible decision you can make against imperial skirmisher. But camel, look, this gate is back. The gate is back. Can we please go into gulam or camel? We finally are. And we're going for the armor upgrade on cavalry for hussar, not camel. Even though we invested all that resources into imperial camel, we're not going to produce camel. Okay, sure. There might be a tug and pull here from both players deciding what they want to go into. I think Gulam had one out. Gulam and Hassan has been the final choice. Took a while. We got there. And Hassan is definitely going to win against Light Cav. Vietnamese do not get Hassan. And we've got the clean up, yes. We need more bombard cannons to break through because these walls are back. This is a fortified game. So we're really relying upon the defensive Vietnamese strategy here. And I don't know, I stick by my original thoughts about the winnability of this game for Cabbage Crew. I don't particularly see it. Definitely going into more siege. I think siege is what is needed at this point. Booming behind here fantastically. We're at 200 pop, so we can't even produce any more units. We're on 136 villages. Cannonball shot landed there, and somebody had let in the units. And they're going to be raided to death. That gate is now open as well. So it's going to be a massacre on this front as well. Need to have support here from hand cannoneers, as we do have halberdiers. They're going to clean up the hussars. I guess you try and protect your bombard cannons as much as possible. You don't want to leave them in the lurch. And we're going for siege elephant. We're speedrunning tech tree here, I think. Skirms are cleaning up the hand cannoneers, but Hussar are cleaning up those skirms, so bit of a tit for tat. Interesting unit combinations coming through. Well, kind of see siege elephants here at some point because we got the upgrade. I would hope at least. But the economy is starting to look a little overrun, and Gulam and Hussar have got the perfect combination for raiding. We've gone back into Elite Battle Elephant, and the resources are looking a little bit tight for Cabbage Crew to be able to maintain that. Don't think it's likely that they will maintain that. Especially with all these villages in PCs, and they're actually on basically zero resources at this point. Been raided around this mill, which is their only source of functioning economy at this point. I think they've tilted the scales, and just as I say that, the GG comes through. So we are in a dead heat. It is 3-3. It is 3-3, guys. I was not expecting this at the start of the series. That first game for Cabbage Crew looked very in favour of them, and they followed that up with a loss, but then 2 wins. So they had 3-1 victory, 3-1 lead, and now we're down to 3-3. So a match point. Very interesting. So this is a grind. This is a series of attrition, which I absolutely love. So let's go to the starting screen. Let's allocate some crowns and some skulls. So a crown here for Hindustanis. and a couple skulls to allocate. So a skull here for Copenhagen, so they lose their home map. And they lose with the Vietnamese. So we're down to Mired, which is a really weird map to end on because it feels like an early game map, right? Where you go full aggression, you do a bunch of boar steals. It's all about the early game, and you might not get the late game. So it could be very anticlimactic end, but let's see what they do and make interesting. It is Cabbage Crew's home map. I think the only Civ, they can't pick Bohemians on this map. You just can't. You can't pick Spanish on this map. Definitely not. It has to be Magyars. For Handed Swordsman, they have Poles. They seem to play too slow. Could go Men-at-Arms Rush with Goths. I think that could be decent. Playing to the aggression in the early game with them. Or you go Koreans with an Arch Rush. Either Goths or Koreans, I would say. I would like. They both don't have perfect civs for this map, I would say. Well, I think Magyars are great. I take it all back. I think Magyars are perfect for this map. Lean full into aggression. Definitely. Alright, let's pull it up. Okay, this is the final game of Dual Domination Finals. Whoever wins this wins the tournament. It's bracket 3, that's 1200 elo, and we're on Mired. Very aggressive map. 10 boars in the middle, nomad start, so you've got to tighten your TC out, and we have Poles for Handed Swordsman. I thought they were going to pick the Goths, but they have not. They've gone for Poles, and I think a much better civ on this map is Magyars can lean into full aggression in the early game. But this game might not even matter. Like it might. I mean, the game matters. The civ picks might not matter. It's all about luring boars. Whoever does this the best is gonna win. And I think Handed Swordsman saw that the horse was waiting and went for a different boar. And they're gonna kill this boar quite handily. It's hard to kill a boar with 2 villages, but it's been pulled off very well. We're trying to block villages. This is way too close to the TC to pull that off. And there we go with the boar kill. Thank you so much for the follow, Johnny. Thank you so much for the follow, Johnny. Good to see you as part of the stream. But yes, you've come right at the right time. It's the final of Dual Domination, and we're on Mired. Super aggressive, high pressure stakes. You know, definitely don't want to lose a villager, or you wouldn't want to lose a horse either. And Handed Swordsman played that too aggressive in this situation, and it lost their horse. And what can they see? They can't see anything. They're not going to have any scouting whatsoever, and they can't contest the block. And the horse is dead, but the villager is also dead. But I think that's worth it on the side of Cabbage Crew. And what can they see? They also can't see anything. So both players going in blind here. However, I think Cabbage Crew are winning the boar war. And they might even be able to steal a boar here. And where are these villagers going? That one is definitely in the hands of Handed Swordsman. Oh, this villager could be in trouble. That villager is in trouble. That villager is dead. Oh, and she missed her opportunity to steal that ball though. That is very unfortunate. She definitely could have stolen that ball. You have to be the one closest to the ball to get the aggression on it. So missed opportunity there. But they both have had some eco deaths. And actually Pickled Cabbage has had 2 eco deaths. So I actually missed a boar kill. And 400 swordsmen have only lost 1. So they actually come out ahead in terms of villages, but I still think Cabbage Crew came out ahead in terms of boars. And well, they're even going to push deer with villages. So we're really playing into this pushing of animals element of this map. This is something I have to do from time to time on Nomad when I run out of food. But wasn't expecting it here. And we're going into a barracks. This is risky. This is really risky to go men-at-arms rush on this map. We've seen it a couple of times from these guys, and to be fair, I think they've been very good at it. And where are we going? With all these villages, we're going to do a mill, or we're not quite sure what's happening. We're not going men-at-arms. So I think we're a little indecisive here from 400 swordsmen. We've gone for the mill for Cabbage Crew on berries. And we're still on boars, because they got the boar advantage. And we're just going for unmilled deer. Yeah, and going for the full work on poles, obviously that's how you play poles. You don't even have a chance to go for a mill. A normal mill. But you just don't have enough time on this map, surely. Especially against maggots. And wow, we're not even up to... what is this? I gotta go back to that. I think we're panicking. What happened here? Okay. Sorry to go back. I don't like to rewind all that often, but I think this warranted a rewind. We have 8 villages, create a farm, burn it. Burn it to the ground, get back to doing deer. I don't know what that was, but it was obviously a waste of resources. Did we think we were Khmer or something? Ooh. I'm so confused. It was obviously a misclick, but I'm thinking, is there like a bug abuse that you can do to drop off food or something? I don't know. But look at this. We're basically already walled for Cabbage Crew. And we're going into our stadium. Magyar aggression. How are they going to beat this? How can they combat? We're going to go and scout. We haven't even had to put down farms. For Handed Swordsman want to put down farms because that's the pole bonus. But this ain't a farming map. You want to get your free resources. Just as Cabbage Crew have done. We are going to eventually go into farms, yes. But having this for your scout rush, and I say rush lightly because we have one scout. We're going to be annoying with that scout though. And here comes some more. Alright, so we're going to get scouts eventually. And we're just going to be really annoying as the Magyars. And kind of hem them in the base. And Magyar Scout's just going to be better than the Pole Scout. You know, if the game goes long, then I can see it working out for Poles. I just don't know if it's gonna though. You know, remember, Magyars have good archers too. So they can go archers for the spearmen if they wanted to, or they could just fully commit to scouts, which, you know, probably is the preferred option, I would say. I think you have to keep going to scouts. Exactly. Exactly. And then get on this gold. If it was me, I love a tower rush. Put a tower on that gold and they could be fucked. So both have spearmen and scouts. So they're both playing the same strategy that Magyar are better at. Good walls though, good walls. Very compact base. So that's going to be hard to penetrate. Pick off on scouts here, that's good. Another pick off potentially, no. We've got 6 scouts out on the floor now. So we could get up to overwhelming numbers at some point. Especially if we are able to take out some of these scouts. Good directing into the pikemen there, into the spearmen, sorry. And we're just going to leave those scouts alone because we have a spearman. And we're going to go back to the enemy base. You know, this is working effectively because it stops any penetration into the base, 100%. So that's good. But it also restricts what you're actually able to achieve and do with your economy. So it's good and bad. And guys, this is the 7th game. It's getting late into the night here in Australia. So forgive my yawning. I am still very much enthralled by the set. We have 5 spearmen here as well. That's a huge investment into spearmen. Not the greatest unit. Some very weak scouts there. I love the economy set up the Cabbage Crew. Their walling is just as effective, but look at all the space. And look at the lack of space down here. And finally, these scouts are starting to be cleared up now as well. It's got to be a faster castle age for Handed Swordsman. Well, I say that by a matter of seconds. I would think for an archery range. Nope, double stable. Actually, that's fine. Because if you get knights, they can overwhelm pikemen. So I think that's good, actually. I take it all back. Don't go up. Stick with the calves. Stick to the tried and true, which is the Magyar strategy. Meanwhile, we're getting gold mining upgrade so that we can definitely sustain those knights. We've got 19 farms. With horse collar, I think we're going to be able to sustain this pretty well. I would love to see siege villages start to come forward as well. But if you can get a ram, well, you don't even need a ram because the front of the base is still open. I think this is the particular area you need to go for with siege or a tower. And that's why I was thinking Koreans, right? Koreans, you could put a tower here quite easily. And we're going to see light cav. Yes, I agree with that, considering how many cav are on the floor. And then also knights. So if we could get another stable out here, potentially, that could be nice. But light cav and knights with chain barding armor is going to be incredible. Here are the knights. So 2 stables, so they both have 2 stables. This town centre is going to go up very slowly with 2 villages. Can only get there. Archery range coming through, I don't mind that. Like I said, I think it's a good play. I think we're going to need siege. And these knights are actually going to get through. Right? Repairs still come in. Knights come to the rescue. So those knights are going to be taken out without any return damage, actually. But get very low at least. And we're going to try and get through these palaces. Oh. So we do have the numbers here for poles, actually. The archery range doesn't go up, which is pretty funny. At 95%, so it's a doubt archery range. Another villager has to come out. So we are stabilizing here for 2-handed swordsmen. They've done a good job to make this work. They've even squeezed in enough bulwarks which is impressive. This is surprising. I thought they were going to be dead, I'm quite honestly. But the pikemen have been disincentive enough. And going for the other archery range, and this village is also going to die. Which is, again, oh, Cabbage, of course. Like I said, guys, it's late in the night. So, forgive me if I'm a bit slow on the uptake. But I feel like you just run through now. Run through. Yes, this is brilliant. Because this should be punished. It is being punished. You've got nothing at home to defend from this raid. And I think it's overwhelming numbers enough, especially with chain barding armor. I think it's worth it, even if you are losing a bit of military. Because this is going to prevent four-handed swordsmen, sorry, from having the resources to actually produce more military. This town center is doomed from the beginning. That is a mistake. Thank you so much, Duke Glitch. Thank you for the subscribe, or sorry, for the follow. Just at the critical moment, as we have a critical fight that Cabbage Crew are going to win. And that might be pretty decisive. We are at a 10 villager advantage now, with no return damage on the economy for Cabbage Crew. And we're on the full work farms. There's wood back here. That's a lot of dead villagers. So it's going to spiral further and further out of control from four-handed swordsman. Down to 33 villagers. And more knights on the way. Only 2 knights for four-handed swordsmen, so they can't match the military production. So they've come all this way, and they have to do the GG. So there we have it. Cabbage Crew. The Cabbage Lads. Take it. They take bracket 3 after a wonderful tournament, marvelous tournament by them. But also very, very good tournament here for four-handed swordsmen. And I think they actually did well as the polls there. I think polls was not the pick though. Polls was not the pick because you can't go full work on this map. You just can't. You just can't. Like, surely. Because you're not going to be able to get the full work up. But there we go. There is the crown there for Cabbage Crew. That is the loss for the polls. And a crown there for the BANGER. So, there we have it. There's the final score. Shoals victory. Cabbage Crew. They get that victory with Saracens over Portuguese. Then we're off to Slopes. And that was the Berber strat from four-handed swordsman. Overwhelmed with Berbers against the Malay. That was a very good game from them. 100%. So they win this one. So then we go over to Cabbage Crew's map, which is Jungle Rumble. And Jungle Rumble was a Lithuanian victory. played that quite aggressively with castles and Lightus, and that was against the Malians, which never got to Farimba Campbell because the game ended too soon. So then we pop over back to Pacific Islands for Four-Handed Swordsman, and Four-Handed Swordsman lose on that map with their Bengali pick against the Armenians, which are very strong on water. But I thought that was quite a good map for both teams, and Cabbage Crew played it very well because Pacific Islands is, yeah, not a map that has been really played in this tournament so far. I would like to see the stats, but I believe it hasn't really been played all that much. So for Four-Handed Swordsman to pick it, they had a strategy in mind, and it didn't pan out. Thank you very much for the subscribe, Elia Abu. And then, yes, so Pacific, so then they played Bay, which is a Four-Handed Swordsman map again, and they won with Slavs, which I thought was very interesting actually, to play for that long game. And you know, they had Poles in the pool for that one, so I think they were thinking either Poles or Slavs for that map, and they decided Slavs, but that means they were left with Poles on the map that we just saw. So booming a little bit with the Slav farming bonus on Bay, and that was against the Georgians. I thought that was really well played by Cabbage Crew though, because they were really utilizing the HP regeneration on their knights, popping in and out of fights, but the Georgians couldn't compete with the Bowyer, which was absolutely devastating. And so then we go over to Copenhagen. Yeah, we go over to Copenhagen, and that was Vietnamese against Hindustanis. So Hindustanis with the Gulam against Rattan archers, with the camel against elephants. You know, Hindustanis just have all of the unit options available to them, and Vietnamese want to get into quite specific things. So I think that was a bit of a I'm not going to say Civ win. It obviously has to be executed well by Four-Handed Swordsman, but I think the Civ matchup did favour them there, 100%. So then we go on to the final map, and the final map we just saw was Magyars on the side of Cabbage Crew beating the Poles, which I thought was a curious pick. I would have liked to see Goths or Koreans on that map, but we had Poles, and I think it really put them at a disadvantage, unfortunately. So yeah, that was. It might have come down to the draft, guys. Because if I'm looking at this draft, Armenians on Pacific Islands, Saracens for Shoals, Magyars for Mired. I think those are all really, really good picks that they won on. Lithuanians, I think, was an okay pick on Jungle Rumble. I think it's fine to go for the Lightus and the Relics. I think that's just okay. It's probably more than okay. It's probably something I'm not actually thinking all that hard about there. But yeah, Bengalis on Pacific Islands was a weird one. They're a water civ, of course, but I don't see them as a top tier Pacific Island civ. I thought Slavs, even though they got the victory on Bay, was slightly strange. Berbers was great on slopes, of course. And Hindustanis is always a great pick, but yeah, I much prefer the Civ picks for Cabbage Crew, and it might have actually just come down to that. But that's just personal opinion, of course. But yeah, there we go. There's the tournament. And I'm starting to lose my voice just at the right time. So we're going to end it there. But that was a very, very good tournament. And well done to all the players involved, especially in this bracket. I think this bracket in particular showed themselves to be very competitive while maintaining the fun. I think that was really great to see. So yeah, we'll leave it there. But